All right.
So
What's the question?
for the year of 2021, we reviewed a handful of products, and I wanted to get your top 5 favorite products that we checked out throughout the year of 2021.
Number 5.
Okay, right out the gate for slot number 5, I was already torn between 2 products that could easily fit in this slot. I'm gonna go a little unconventional and give you a tie here. So tied for 5th place is the Morley Distortion Wah. And the Electro Harmonix Cockfight Plus. Now, I could take either of those and be more than happy with them. I liked them equally, but I think the thing that separated those wahs from some of the other wahs that I liked is that I was surprised by them. I really didn't expect much out of the Distortion Wah, and it turned out to be one of the best of Wahtober. And then the Cockfight Plus, I know we looked at that pedal a few years back, but I don't think we spent too much time with the expression mode, so like to actually do the wah motion, I don't think we did 3 or 4 years back. So to be able to actually control that expression with your foot with that tone was wildly exciting to me. So as unorthodox as it is, I am tied at 5th place for the Morley Distortion Wah and the Electro Harmonix Cockfight Plus.
I got to go with the Ray Ross Bridge for this one. Just because it's a new design, it's a cool design. It was apparently kind of a controversial design, but I think it made a really cool addition to my steampunk bass. It's got the most straightforward, almost tool-free series of adjustments I've ever seen on a bridge. So yeah, I'm gonna go Ray Ross.
Yes, I love lists. Lists are good, unless they're chores or stuff like that. My top 5. Number 5, I picked the Arachnid from Dirty Haggard Audio. I particularly had a soft spot for their their awesome marketing on their page when they said they were built in Portland, fucking Oregon. I was instantly in love, and it's an awesome pedal. It's like $90 or $88 or something like that, and it's just an awesome pedal. Very simple user interface. It works well with active basses. It works well with passive basses. You get a lot of really cool, gnarly tones out of it. And all those guys and gals at Dirty Haggard are super cool people. And that was why I picked that for number 5.
Coming in at number 4, yet another dark horse that I didn't think I was gonna like that much. It's the Bastard, or Bastard, or Bastard, as Dave said, from Sign Labs. It was just, in our Purple Pedal Eater trilogy that we did a couple months back, and cool, it's a fuzz. It's got a couple clipping diodes, and then a setting with no diodes, and, how many 3-knob fuzzes have we heard in our life? I wasn't dreading it, but I wasn't, chomping at the bit to do the video. I'm just, cool. And then, hearing it in the room, and then putting the video together and hearing that pedal, I'm like, damn it, I want one. That thing sounds awesome. That is probably in my top 10 fuzzes of all time, but my probably favorite fuzz of this year. Not that we did that many, but that's my number 4 spot.
I'm gonna go with the Fuzzrocious Lil Fella Distortion. You can run it on 9 volts up to 18 volts. It's fairly versatile. It doesn't lose a bunch of low ends like some drive pedals do, even though it is not specific for bass. Fuzzrose's little fella definitely deserves a spot on this list.
For the number 4 slot, I am picking the Oracle from Arkham Sound. And I'll explain why it's number 4. If it wasn't for certain things, it would have been higher. But let me elaborate. So number 4, I love Arkham Sound stuff. Micah and all the people on his team are really, really nice, small business, dedicated people. Very cool to work with. This particular outboard preamp was amazing. It was super rich, very lush, organic, modern tones, vintage tones. I loved the accessibility of the different switches that you could get tones fast with, and it's very easy to use. My only kind of hang up on it is it's not widely enough known, I think, for people to justify the price point. And admittedly, I think it was $500 or $600. Don't quote me. 5? Let's call it 5. Might be higher. Go check. That's a lot for people to put it on a maybe. Now, and hopefully, the video that we made for it, the review, shed some light and perspective on it. There was a lot of positive comments and a lot of positive review interactions on that. Some people got hung up on some really silly things. It was very well built. Love the chassis, love that whole tarot card kind of feel for it, and it's made every bass we plugged into it sound really good. So that's why I went with that one, number 4. The price point, again, it's a lot if you're not super familiar with it and you want to take a chance. But if you're buying outboard preamps like Ready, or if you're going for a Noble, this is still in that price range and cheaper than a Noble, right around a Ready. Not as commercially well known as a Ready, but if you're supporting small businesses, the Oracle is the way to go.
Okay, coming in at number 3, I'm starting to see a little bit of a trend in these lower ones with yet another dark horse. This is the bass that I thought I was going to hate for a couple reasons, because the first time I saw it in the picture, I was not a fan, and knowing the company who makes it and my experience with their guitars, probably not going to be a fan. The one bass from this company I played years ago was not a fan, so I just expected this thing to be horrific. And I pulled it out of the box and I played it, and it is one of my favorite instruments in the room. That's quite a compliment, because I have some wonderful instruments in this room, but it's the Jackenbacher. That thing was just, it blew me away. All of my preconceived notions out the window. So I think well-deserved spot at number 3 is the, obviously it's not called the Jackenbacher, it's the Jackson X Series concert bass CBX-NT-IV, for whatever it is. You know the one, it's this one.
Definitely, I think the Asinonix, I've heard people say it both. I've heard it both ways. But yeah, the Nordstrand retro 60s Panther style, I think it is, short scale bass. It just sounded so phenomenal, and it played so amazingly. Absolutely, hands down, one of my favorite pieces of gear in a long time, let alone just this year.
Number 3, I went with the Asinonix bass from Nordstrand Audio. That one I would have also wanted to have put higher, but there's, again, a couple things on it that I put it there for a reason. So I love the all-in mode where it's in series when you have all the buttons that it presses. And if you don't recognize what I'm talking about, the Ascendant from Nordstrom Audio, go find the video. We give a real in-depth review. It's a modern take on the Panther Goya from the Meeting of the Minds from Juan Alderete and Carrie Nordstrom. It's awesome. It's different. It's weird looking. It's short scale. It sounds great. It's passive. It's got a really cool leopard gig bag if you're into that 70s pimp funk kind of feel. It's pretty rad. Love the colors. Love the options. It's pricing at $8.99, I believe, which is super affordable. And it sounds great. Sounds great with a pick. Sounds great fingerstyle, thumping, slapping, all of that. Any kind of play style you can think of, that bass handled it in spades. Great to record with, great to play with. If you're smaller, dainty, a la Dave Dixon, and you're looking for some short scale powerhouse, sorry, Dave. I couldn't help it. Low hanging fruit. It's high hanging fruit for you. It's definitely going to be something that you're going to super enjoy. Carrie made everything from top to bottom, start to finish. He put his own personal touches on it. They are an overseas model. They're not made in the USA. I think he is making some now that he's custom making in those body shapes and electronics, but not for $8.99. This bass plays great, feels great, sounds incredible. If you get a chance to get one, go to their website, buy one, check it out. I think they're back ordered, but you can probably get one if you put an order in now. They're flying off the shelves. And I saw him also making a fretless model for Juan, because, Juan is fretless all day. But he's got a fretted and a fretless. Sounded incredible. Go check it out. The Nordstrom Ascendant bass. Ascendant. Yeah, that's right. That's my number 3.
Okay, my number 2 spot should hopefully come as no surprise. It is the EMG TB-TW Thunderbird dual mode split coil pickup. As you remember, we did a handful, I think 4 different sets of Thunderbird pickups with Jamie about a month or 2 ago from the moment we're shooting this. And the ones that stayed in the base are the TB-TW. They're ceramic steel, dual mode, so it's a CS in the humbucker position and a JCS in the single coil position. And I don't know, there's something about the CS tone that I talked about previously where it is the perfect middle ground of what the T-Bird offers, that being kind of a fat, huge humbucker, mahogany type of a tone, and what EMG offers, which is everyone has their own opinion, but it's got more clarity, it's got more output, and everything that, for the most part, that I've heard from EMG, I am a fan. I love it. I love the Alnico stuff, the ceramic steel. As I get more experience with the ceramic steel and the Alnico, I'm liking the straight up ceramic less, but that doesn't mean I dislike it. I'm just finding that those other two are really cool. So again, these pickups have the ceramic steel, which, to put it quickly, the steel just kind of tames the excessive top end that the ceramic has inherently to give you kind of something between your super bright ceramic and your more traditional sounding Alnico. It's a good middle ground. And I'm starting to notice now that that's, again, what I like. It's not only the middle ground between ceramic and Alnico, but it's, in my opinion, the perfect middle ground between T-Bird and modern, which calling it modern is hilarious, but EMG. Those two sounds, I feel like the TB-TW fits perfectly in the middle. They're in the bass now. I don't ever see them coming out unless they come out with a Metalworks version. Wink, wink, EMG. We need metal-capped EMG T-Bird pickups because that would just be rad. But either way, number 2, EMG TBTW.
Near and dear to my heart, another piece of gear that I absolutely loved this year was the Morley Distortion Wah. I loved it so much that I own one now. I don't really know what more can be said about that. But yeah, great distortion, great wah, and it's kind of a workhorse pedal when I'm just jamming at home by myself. Because I don't have any gigs.
I went with the Sire P5. There's a reason for this too, as always. Not just personal choice because it's Sire and it's fresh in my mind and that's what I could remember because I have Dane Bramage. It's because of the following. I have never been a P-bass purist. Not by any stretch of the means. I like what I like, and if it's a P-bass, then great. And if it's something modern, like an MTD, which is what I normally play, then great. I had the opportunity to, and Chris and everyone else on the bass channel had an opportunity to work with Sire very close on their newest models, the P5 and the D5. The D5 being the Telly style P-bass, and the P5 being the P-bass. And between those two, I love them both. I love the aesthetics, the ergonomics. We still can't figure out how they're $499. I don't know. Maybe Chris has. I have not. It is mind-boggling to me that a bass that feels that good at that price point can stay at that price point. I don't know. But that's another reason why it's number 2 for me. The price is great. It's good for if you're jumping feet first in the bass playing world and you're a beginner, novice, intermediate, or pro level player. It is reliable. It is affordable. It sounds really good, albeit it's a little light in the booty for the low end response for me. But you know, that might not be the case for you. For me. And for those reasons, plus the awesome finishes that they have and the accessibility of them, I have seen from some of the feedback on the video that we have for the D5 that some people have been waiting for months. Now, I know that there's some logistic concerns with respect to a lot of this inventory coming off of the boats that are at the ports and getting to the online retailers like Zounds and what was the other one? Zounds. Those are all really good. Check those out. There's other places. Obviously, you guys order where you can order. I did that because Billy and the crew at Zounds are rad, and they help us out a lot. But I know that a lot of people said they've been waiting for months and they were like, kind of mad because like these online YouTube guys are getting these basses. I've been waiting for 16 years. I'm like, I'm sorry we got one before you. But you're going to get yours. They already said, Sire said, the online retailer said it's coming. I even said a follow-up that one of the people had contacted us separately on Facebook and said that they had immediately after the video, could be coincidence, could be because we're awesome, I don't know, that they were getting theirs before Christmas. So how about that? You know? You're going to get your Christmas present after all. Sire is great. Price point, to my knowledge, is not really touchable as far as overseas availability goes for production instruments that are mass assembly production instruments. There isn't a lot out there that's $500 that's going to hit like that. So you make your own decisions. I thought it was tremendous. It made me a P-bass believer. Chris is not giving me the P5 that we got. He's keeping that one. He already put a bow on it and said Santa gave it to him. So now I have to try and wait with you guys to get another one because I want one. Also, I saw they have a 5-string P-bass that's also available. And I don't think that's one of the newer models, but I still want one because it's 5-string and I like those. So check that out. Sire P5, number 2 on the top 5 list for moi.
And number 1 is probably the most expensive item on the list. Unless I'm mistaken, I'm pretty sure it is the most expensive item on the list. It is the Ampeg SVT VR. So the SVT VR was the second of the two SVTs that we looked at this year. I first got the SVT CL sometime in March, and then I think the VR came sometime in June, give or take. I didn't really know what to expect because I thought the CL was great. I loved that sound. And then I plugged into the VR into channel 1, and it was cool. It was a slightly brighter, a little different SVT flavor than the CL had, but more or less kind of the same. And then I figured out how to bridge the two channels, and I got channel 1 and channel 2 together, and that just opened the amp up, and it was one of the biggest sounds that I think I've ever made with my own two hands. Chuck came over, I think, the next day after me getting it, and I plugged him into it. I did the same thing. Here's channel 1, cool. Here's channel 2, cool. Here's both, whoa. And even Chuck was blown away. It's like, dude, that amp, in my opinion, is the sound. There is no other sound than that. Okay, that's obviously an exaggeration because GK sounds awesome, and Dark Glass sounds awesome, and who else? Eden sounds like let's be real, everything is cool in its own right. But like when I think bass tone and I think quintessential, hallmark, legendary pinnacle of what bass tone is, that's what it is. It's the SVT VR. And again, I know this is a preference thing. Preference-wise, everything comes after that. And if I had the money and a reason to have it, I would totally get it. I have found a pretty good substitute in the SVT Suite plugin that I can get the characteristics that I like out of it. So I'm still using the SVT VR. We're just putting the VR heavily now into SVT VR because it's all virtual. That's a stupid joke.
And then for this slot, I'm going to go completely kind of off book. And I'm going to mention a piece of gear that we didn't officially do a review of, but we have seen it in a couple of videos. Josh did the Ride the Lightning album with it. It is Chris's Dingwall D-Rock bass. And we're going to see another one in an upcoming video that you guys are going to see very soon. Yeah, the D-Rock from Dingwall. I am, as of late, a short scale player, medium scale player. I can't really do the long scales because I've got a problem with my wrist. But the D-Rock sounds so good and feels so good. I'm begging Sheldon Dingwall to hear my call and give us either a 30 to 32 inch scale D-Rock or a 32 to 34 like the Super P and the Super JR. I would absolutely buy one of those tomorrow if they existed. So yeah, I'm gonna go off in left field and say the Dingwall D-Rock bass is my one for this slot.
Number one choice in my top 5 list was the Ampeg SVT VR. Now, this was a very controversial, really tough one to pick because it was between the Ampeg SVT VR and the Legacy 800. Now, I am a huge GK fan. In fact, I work with them on the regular, but I try to be as transparent as possible, and I want to be as upfront for you, our viewers, our friends, our haters, I don't know if I could say lovers, everyone that watches the channel, participates, subscribes, likes, all that stuff. So I don't want to be biased. So it was separating facts, right? So Class D Legacy 800, my choice all day for Class D. But separating that, Class D versus the SVT VR. Not a Class D amp. You'll blow your back out picking it up, but it is huge in tone. I mean, it's everything you would want in a tube amp. It sounds incredible. Any setting. Chris showed us that one crazy, Mission Impossible, crossing the streams thing with the cables and then the secret tone. Do-do-do-do. You know what I mean? The SVT VR had a ton of options. Yes, it's heavy. Get past that. It sounds freaking amazing. We got that one from Zounds also, and I didn't want to send it back. I really didn't. In my youth, when I was, like everybody, aspiring, moving around, living in a van, hitting any tour you can get on, playing any show you could get, my rig was an SVT4 Pro and an Ampeg 810. But there was some shows where the backline was provided, and that Ampeg SVT amp, it was either the CL and, the VR was later. But those 300 watt Class A all tube amps were legendary, right? So being in the position that we are now, we're very fortunate to work with a lot of good companies like Zounds and Ampeg and Zounds. We get to try all of this really cool gear, and the number one for me this whole year that I've gotten to work with the bass channel would definitely be the Ampeg SVT VR. And that was tough because there was a lot of really cool things that we had on the channel. We had Spectre, had the Bantam and the Pulse. We had some really cool pickups that came in from EMG. You saw that in that gross bass that Chris loves, the Thunderbird. We had a lot of things come through, so it was very hard to just pick 5. And, boo to Chris for making me only pick 5. But I guess if we stayed here and picked more, we'd be here all night.
All right, so there you have it. That is all of our 5 favorite products that we looked at for the year of 2021. Naturally, this is the last video of 2021, and we will see you, if you're watching this on the last release date of 2021, we will see you January 2nd, coming back next year with a part 2 to a somewhat popular video that we did last year, or this year, on January 2nd. So we will see you then. Thank you very much for watching. Have a safe new year. If you're watching it in the future, have a safe whatever holiday is coming up for you. And thank you all for watching. Thank you for subscribing. And we will see you very soon.